Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. So I have a viewer story that I'd like to give you guys kind of an idea. If you're wondering if you're with a narcissist, this is how bad it can get. So this person, it's a female. She says, with my narcissist, it's crazy how everything went. So I'm going to go ahead and read the story and then get into it a little bit. First, I'll say he's a man. I'm a woman. She has a unique name. And a beautiful name. I think it means beautiful or pretty. I looked it up. And after everything he'd done, all the cheating resulting in STIs, which are sexually transmitted infections. So it got pretty bad. And this is in her words, I noticed he would purposely push me to the point of no return. So they get our triggers when I wanted to really talk about things. Narcissists don't like to talk about things that make them self-reflect or take accountability. Things were physically abusive. That's why it's can get toxic. The more you stay with them, the more entitled they feel to just abuse you physically. They're already mentally abusing you. So she remembered after he called her a bitch, she slapped him. We do the reactive abuse. She was not going to slap him in the beginning of the day, but it was a reaction to his words. And then he backslapped her so hard that she got up and started throwing everything. And I mean everything at him, because she went into that fight or flight mode as she was fighting. She threw a massage book at him and it hit him in his eye. So he had a black eye. So even though he initiated the physical abuse, so because she threw something and he now had that black eye, she felt bad. And that's the thing, is we start feeling bad for our actions. The narcissist does not feel bad. And she had never, ever been able to simply put her hands on him and cause this kind of damage. So she's been restraining. And then all of a sudden, you can only take so much. She's always had to use some form of object, and her main thing was throwing things. So that was a trigger. That was her coping skill. And we got to remember, we still got to be true to ourselves. That when it gets that toxic, it is better to leave, because, you know, we react. So we got to be careful. The law doesn't always see things as who started it. Sometimes they just see the black eye that maybe the guy had. So she's had black eyes too, but she's never spoken about it because it made her feel pitiful. She didn't want to tell people, yes, I'm staying in this abusive relationship. So she just never told anybody. So the narcissist can use that against her. Like, when have I ever hurt her? There's no marks on her, because she's probably hiding it. And so she has had black eyes, but probably made up excuses. He realized he's bigger and stronger than her. And she noticed he would purposely, and this is the key word, purposely. And if you guys can comment below, how many times did they purposely trigger you? Because in reality, he knew he was bigger than her, stronger than her. And he knew that she couldn't overpower him. So she goes on saying, I remember one time after calling me all kinds of words, like the B word and H words, everything of her not slapping him for it. So she was trying to restrain and not having that reactive abuse like he wanted. So narcissists love to get a reaction. It doesn't have to be good. It can be bad. They just need that reaction. So because he didn't get the reaction he wanted, he began yelling, come on, hit me, hit me. And they will instigate. Then she realized that that's what he wanted. He was hoping to trigger her, and he wanted her to slap him or go off so he could play the victim. So they're already in the middle of this, and he's trying to switch it around so he can play the victim. He's already got the black eye. And I'm sure he would use it, poor him. And it turns people against you because they see you as the instigator. So he could hit her back, because he definitely does, and even has hit me first plenty of times, and he could clearly overpower him. She never used to take pictures of her bruises and scratches, the black eyes, and she covered, and she used some really, really dark blue makeup while at Walgreens, or a concealer. So she's trying to hide these bruises. So she doesn't have a record of things. She doesn't have character witnesses sometimes, because we do try to cover the tracks of the abuse from the narcissist. So more recently, she did start taking them, and she does have some, which is really important, to record phone calls or abusive interactions, physical damage. And as recently as June 30th, just a little over 6 weeks after giving birth to their second baby, she literally, she has a 3-month-old baby. She lied plenty of times about the physical abuse. She probably felt trapped. They have a baby. Narcissists like to keep you trapped. So they'll either use marriage or pregnancy, babies, as leverage. So she lied about the abuse because it just made her feel, I read that. Sorry, it's hard to do on the screen. Now I want to see this. I should have known. He used to tell me about his ex. They'll use their exes to stir things up in you or to triangulate you, and how she threw his phone to the ground and they slapped him in front of his friends or whatever, and why this woman is doing this to him. So she was thinking, you know, what is causing it? Is this lady the abuser, or is she doing the reactive abuse? So sometimes when we hear the stories, the narcissist will play the victim, say their ex was crazy, and because of these are the kinds of reactions he really was pushing for. So he could play the victim. Now, mind you, her reaction is her responsibility. She realizes that. So that's important. That's really good that she sent me another email too, and she does seem to take accountability. She knows the part that she played, but her narcissist probably would not write to me this way. It would probably be all about her, but she's seeing both sides. She's saying, I'm reacting to this. I'm physical. I've thrown things. She states that he had a black eye. You know, she says that she's got hurt too. So we got to remember, when we go through these relationships, we turn narcissistic or we turn abusive too. It's reactive, but it's a trait that's going to start being our defense mechanism. And we might give that onto somebody who doesn't necessarily deserve it, because we're going to start to lose trust in people, have like a paranoia that they're going to treat us the same way because we might have trust issues. And that's the baggage that we get. So in her words, I should be able to handle him giving me STIs. I should have still not slapped him even after he told me. I don't know. This is, I believe, his words. I don't know. Maybe you just don't shower well enough. So he's still not taking accountability. He's cheating on her. Obviously, something's showing up, making her uncomfortable. He's like, you probably just didn't shower right. And even after that, he said, why are you still talking? Like, shut the fuck up. Even after he called me, is this flip-flopping? I think she might be double talking. So he's saying, why are you still talking? Shut the fuck up. And she doesn't want to be, I believe she's repeating, I don't want to be with him anymore. I'm finally waking up. I'm really realizing she's the victim of reactive abuse. So the instigator is the abuser, and the one who reacts to it is the reactive abuser. So it instigates, but then they both are starting to react and react and react. But it would never started if the instigator didn't do it. So I should be able to be called all those nasty things he should be able to cheat 1,000,000 times, even if he gave me whatever kind of STI. I'm not sure what she means by this. He's giving you an STI. You should not be called anything, especially if he's damaging your body physically. Even if it's temporary, you can get antibiotics. Some are permanent though. STDs. I should still not react, especially not physically. She realizes it's not going to change the situation. It's not going to cure her. The doctor will, if it's one that can be cured. So he tries to act like a victim, and I believe it is. I think STDs are not, and STIs are curable. He tries to act like a victim, but he's not, because I now realize he was searching for those sort of reactions. So that's what they want. They just want a reaction. They just need supply. They just need attention. It can be good, it can be bad, and that's where it's toxic. We don't know. It's unpredictable. We don't know how they're going to act to get that supply. And that's where it's dangerous. If you're always with an abuser, you always know you're in a bad situation. If you're in a good relationship, you know you're safe. But with a narcissist, flip-flop between the two, and you never know what you're going to get. And she goes on, there was never, ever, ever in my life been one single time that he ever triggered me. So why is it doing this? I don't move anything. This is weird. I've made what, 500 videos and I've never had to do this. So she began crying, and this is key. Okay. She began crying and he tried to console her. So, they're abusive and then they console you. And then that's where the trauma bond happens. So she feels it was just another way to control her, to make her feel guilty into staying. And she's not going to stay. So she's being strong. I was there. I lived it. I know the true story no matter what he says. Also, the first person to ever be physically violent in the relationship with him. It's like she was playing, it was like a game, basketball horse is what she was saying. And she was winning and he didn't like it. And he got angry and he punched me in the back 3 times. So they were playing a game. That's the thing is you can just be having a fun time together. And if you start winning, they're going to get angry. Just a game that should be fun. So he hurt her, consoled her. He would like to tell people that she was the violent one. She says she's not. She was reactive, but when he would put his hands on her, it was because he was losing that game. When she put her hands on him, it was because it was the millionth time he cheated on her. And she went to the doctor because she felt so sick and found out that it was that STI. Those are things that you do want to get taken care of because they can cause infertility. Things like syphilis can affect your brain, make you go crazy. Some can lead to blindness. So it is something that you need to get taken care of. It can cause odor, discomfort, itching. So she snapped. It can even cause miscarriages if you're pregnant. So she snapped, lost it. She didn't even hit him that day, but she tried to talk to him about it and cried and cried and cried, and he didn't care. So he infected her. And instead of realizing that she's going through some emotions because of it, that was something that shouldn't have happened because she had a trust with him. And he betrayed the trust, and also didn't care about her physical health. And once she had a physical infection, he was cold about it, and he's the one that put it upon her. So like she said, her reactions are her responsibility. She says the truth doesn't need to be defended. I need to stop defending myself. Now this is what we go through. We feel bad, we reacted, and that's why we gotta get out of these situations. Hers was pretty bad to where she should have definitely left. It's not one of those minor things that are just kind of mind making you crazy. You know, they want to get a reaction out of us so they can play the victim, so they can do whatever they want, abuse us, and then they can say it wasn't their fault, that we were the crazy ones. And it makes you crazy. It makes you crazy. That's what it's called, crazy making, all the stuff that they do to us. So she is saying, hey, I understand the truth is the truth. I'm tired of defending myself. And I know who I am, which we need to do. I remember who I am. We also have to remember that. Who we were before we met this person, who we are deep in our heart. And she's starting to remember who he is. So we got to remember that, who he is. In this story, he's an abuser, and she's starting to remember that. Like when we go through our rumination, like, but he gave me flowers and took me out to a nice dinner, or we just went for walks every Sunday, and I miss that. But we're missing something that doesn't exist. It was a moment in time. And I did a video where, a little short, where it was like a vacation. It was like a vacation, just a moment in time. It's not reality. Time to get back to your normal life, a good life. So she's going to say this now too. He knows that she's the victim of childhood sexual abuse, and he has gone as low as to try to play upon that trigger. So like all these YouTubers keep saying is, when they try to get to know you, it's so they have weapons to use against you. So she shared something very personal, traumatic, and then he uses it as a trigger. It wasn't probably in the middle of a conversation. She probably didn't bring it up saying, but you know, I'm a victim. He probably just said something. Maybe she brought it up, but they'll still use it against you. And to try to get her to feel some type of way because he's just really low and disgusting as a person. This really, she apologized for being long, but I'm going to speak up because it's the truth. And that's the thing. We need to speak up. Because our story helps others to validate, to help them see, or if they're in the beginning of the relationship, if the person's not willing to change or try or acknowledge things, if you start to see a pattern, if they're not changing or willing to, it's just going to escalate like that. And a lot of them have a lot of the same traits, a lot of the same patterns. They go through a cycle. There is a narcissistic cycle. We'll put you on a pedestal and they'll start to devalue you and they'll discard you. And we want to get back to that love bombing stage. But that was grooming. Just like, you know, young teenage girls, how the pimps or whoever, they groom the girl, make it seem like this beautiful life. You get to have the best clothes, the, you know, coolest cars, and get to travel if you sell your soul. And be controlled and told what to do and risking things like STIs, pregnancy. They don't tell you all the dirty, I don't want to use the word dirty. As what, how do I want to word it? All the negatives is how I want to word it. I don't want to word it as dirty. Because those girls, you know, were groomed. I don't want to call them dirty. I want to call them abused. So, we got to be careful. Trust is important in relationships. And you should be able to trust your partner. So trust your gut. Your gut's telling you something. So if you guys would like to share your story, I'll kind of go through it with viewers so they can understand, so you can understand, we can help validate. I see this girl, like, I tried, I reacted, I know I reacted. She was a victim. But we start thinking, but I was abusive too when I reacted that way. You know, we get in this fight, flight, or fawn. They added fawn, which is like deer in the headlight. You don't know what to do. So you're stuck. Do I fight or flight? And you get stuck. And sometimes you will fight until you're ready for that flight. So hopefully we can train our brains to try not to be deer in the headlights and to go to safety instead of staying to fight a fight that we're not going to win. Now, there are fights in life that you can win. There are arguments that you can win or compromise or agree to disagree, but it's different with a narcissist. They don't have the empathy. They're too focused on themselves. And we get confused when they console us, you know? So look at the pattern, look at the red flags. People can change, but they have to want to. That's the key. Didn't sound like this guy wanted to. He wanted to trigger her instead. So big hugs, and I'll see you in the next video.